Perfect. Cool. Welcome, everyone. So I'm going to take you through some of the changes we are looking to implement as part of today's release. So it's not currently on production as yet. The team's working diligently to get it out later today. So I'm hoping I can show it to you on our test sort of platform. But if not, I've got screenshots as well on these slides to help us sort of go through today's session. So the first one is to do with the tax compliance screen. So there's a limitation currently within the tax compliance screen where you can't lodge an amendment where the original hasn't been lodged in Simple Fund 360. So this required a few changes to be done to the section F and G of the return. Now, instead of us essentially doing just that change, we thought, why not give the whole screen a new facelift? So let me jump into Simple Fund. Um, so essentially, you'll now have, or from later today, you would have this as your new UI. And at the bottom here is where you would do the amendment for any returns that you haven't lodged within Simple Fund. Now, as part of this, we also added a few other functionalities as well. One is the ability to now fix up validation errors using what we call our validation assistant. So it's a bit of AI in the back end as well. So once the error comes up, it'll show you the errors on the left-hand side, and it'll give you a better description of what that error is
Anthony,
instead
are
of,
you supposed to show on the screen? Because I can see the slides on.
sorry, let me try sharing that again. Is that better?
Yep, can see now. So just maybe go back to the
Let me
start.
go back. Yeah. Okay. Let me close out of this. So this would be the new tax return UI. Like I said, at the bottom there is if you've got any amendments that wasn't originally where the return wasn't originally lodged within Simple Fund, you can now do an amendment for that as well. A couple of other features that we've added is the validation assistant here. So when you've got any validation errors, you can either access it through this button here, or it's on the right-hand side there for you as well. It'll go through each of the validations, and as previous, where I just gave you the ATO error coming back, this would give you a better description of what that error is, along with prompts of how to fix it. And on the rightmost panel, if you click into it, it'll actually take you to the location on the tax return where that error resides. So it'll be much easier for you to navigate through and fix these errors as they come through. Another thing that we did is this show last year's comparison. So if you click on that particular button here, it'll show you for each label of the tax return what was reported for last year for that particular fund you're in. So if you want to see that comparison, you can switch that on or off, and it'll show you what was reported last year, essentially. So those were the sort of minor changes that we've added as part of redoing the UI for you as part of that change that you'll be looking forward to hopefully later today. Something else that we've done, and it's currently in closed beta, however, so it's to do with activity statements. And the reason for this change is the ATO changed the way in which, or the lodgement system by which we used to report these through to the tax office. So that's changed from their SBR1 platform to SBR2. So as part of that change, what we've also done is, again, we gave it a bit of a facelift for this activity statement screen. We've also added extra forms that we previously didn't support. So previously we supported something like 8 forms, and that's now increased to 12. So that will be including simpler BAS as well. And another cool thing is you can now do amendments as well. So you can do amended returns for BASs. Like I said, though, it's currently in closed beta. We need to, let's say, go through a formalization process with the ATO in terms of whitelisting. Once we've got that sorted out, we will expose this to all clients. So these are all coming soon. In terms of the activity statement. In terms of the process of things, it's pretty much the same. You download the data as you currently do from the ATO, and then you'll be able to download the pre-field for each of the forms and make whatever changes, validate, lodge. So that workflow hasn't changed, just that we support more forms as well as amendments. So stay tuned for that. Um, the other thing that we've added as part of Simple Invest is we've added a new report. Let me jump into my slides again. So we've added an income streaming summary report. So this essentially gives you a breakdown across the different gains as well as the frank distributions in terms of how that's been distributed to the beneficiaries, gives you a sort of a breakdown of each of those. So that's just for your trust entities. So for those of you uh, who subscribe to Simply Invest, have a look at that. Again, all this is coming out later today. It's not currently available in production. Release is planned for today, and you'd be able to see it from tomorrow onwards. Okay, and what we'll be working on next is essentially tax time 2026. So that would be for SMSFs, trusts, and companies. So that's slated for June. We have indexations of both T-bar and contribution caps, as well as we're going to start off with some of the Division 296 documents that you'd need to essentially make that decision in terms of whether or not you're going to reset the cost basis for these assets come 30th June of this year. So just to help with that decision-making process, we want to have those documents for you available as well. So that's what's coming up after this today's release, the next release. So stay tuned for those. That's pretty much it from me, Jeeves. I'm going to hand it back to you.
Okay, so next we've got Andy to tell us all about what's changed in the last month in CAS 360.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you can see my slides. Yes. Okay. So, hello, everyone. My name's Andy, and it's going to be a smaller update this time from the CAS 360 side because we're building something big. So, stay tuned over the next few monthly updates as we roll things out. Okay, with that said, back onto this month's update. So overall, the changes we've done this month were focusing on improving everyday usability, saving clicks, and making some ID verification results clearer, and making things easier to find. So the first thing on the document review screen, we have added a new filter columns button. So this was one of the wishlist items. What it helps is it gives users more flexibility to choose which columns they want to see. So in the filter column screen, when you click on that, it will come up with a list where you can choose what columns you want to see on the screen. And you don't have to worry about this mess up with each other user's view because these settings are per user setting. Whatever you change here will not affect any other users in your account. So this is a per user setting. And we've also added a document status column as one of the available column options. So for teams managing a high volume of document review requests, so hopefully this should make it easier to find the right documents and focus on the most relevant information. And if there are any other document columns or details that you'd like to see in this screen, do let us know. And the next thing here, CAS 360 now remembers each user's column sort preferences across the few different key screens. So including company selection, trust selection, annual reviews, returns, and the shareholders screen. So just like the previous setting, this one's also a per user setting. So now whenever a user sorts these screens in different orders, now these are saved. So whenever the screen refreshes or if you leave and come back, these options stays. So this is a small usability improvement, but it should spare users that relies on these sorting some time without having to sort these over and over again. Moving on to ID verification. So in our messages screen, we have this ID verification history screen. So this is the screen that we have had already. But what we've added recently is a new verification history view. So in this ID verification screen, when you click on the options, you have the option to now view the history. So from here, users can see the full history of the verification attempts for a contact, so including each event such as the request, and if there's manual check done, and when it's completed or void, or if it's expired. And there's also timestamps and dates of when that action has been performed. So this is particularly useful for compliance and audit purposes, since users can now see what happened and when it happened without having to leave the screen. Okay, so that's all from me for the CAS 360 side. So thanks everyone, and as usual, all feedback and requests are welcome. So now I'm going to hand it back to Jeevan to talk about BGL Firm Verify.
Thanks, Andy. So for BGL Firm Verify, if you're not haven't been aware or made aware over the last couple of months, it is a new product that we are releasing, and it's really designed for firms to be compliant with the new AML changes. So, Andy, if you move to the next slide just quickly, I think I don't know if I put the right one in, but so it will be in the notes. But on our YouTube channel, we do have a link to the recording, so that will be sent in the email is sent out. So we actually ran a 1 hour webinar yesterday, so I think with that it's a much longer, much more detailed and more justice that we can apply today. The idea with it will link to all the existing clients that you have there with that. Okay, thank you, Andy. So yes, so that is on our YouTube channel. That is available there. So that recording there, and that will be in the, as I said, email sent out. If you go to the next slide, Andy, the biggest difference, I suppose, in our product to others is obviously the ecosystem and I guess how it works there regardless. I suppose looking at it there, if you want any information there around pricing, etc., it is all there on BGL's website, and on the Firm Verify page on BGL's website, you will see that you do have the ability there to put in your details to register for the beta that we're rolling out. Next slide there, Andy. So again, announcement there, BGL's RegTech is going to 6 different cities there across the country. So being Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Perth. So this is really designed around the accounting industry and not, for example, around BGL specific products. We've got a mixture there of both BGL and external speakers that do come along. The agenda again is on BGL's website, and you can register there using the links on our website as well.